From your local source, WCJB-TV 20, this is TV 20 News Weekend Report.
Good evening, I'm Lauren Verno. 33 suspects are now behind bars after a two-day retail theft sting in Marion County. The Marion County Sheriff's Office, along with the Ocala Police Department, arrested 33 people for almost 60 charges. MCSO and OPD are working with Walmart, Target, Bells, and Publix to catch suspects in the act of stealing. Since 2012, there's been a 45% increased theft in Marion County. The passenger of a fatal car accident last week is now dead. 25-year-old Patrick Buchanan lost control of his car on US 441 last Saturday. Buchanan died that day. The passenger of the car, 37-year-old Amanda Hall, died at UF Health Shands earlier this morning. The Florida Highway Patrol is still investigating whether alcohol was a factor. We have a developing story tonight. The Levy County Sheriff's Office is searching for a man involved in an armed robbery in Bronson. LCSO says the suspect entered an elderly man's car demanding money and threatening to kill him with a knife. The suspect stole several $100s as well as the victim's keys. Officials are using the K-9 unit to track down the suspect. And let's get a first check of weather with Mike Gizmondi. So, Mike, it was a pretty nice temperature-wise out there, but a little bit cloudy.
Yeah, a few more clouds out there today, but most locations at least saw a little bit of sunshine, and temperature-wise, we were in the lower 80s yet again today. You'll notice that's a little bit warmer than we should be at this time of the year. In fact, today we are running about 9 degrees above average. So yes, a little warmer than it should be, but it wasn't too bad outside. Hopefully you're able to enjoy the afternoon because we are seeing a small change here for the rest of this evening. Temperature-wise, right now, 81 in Gainesville, 82 in Ocala, 79 in Lake City, and 77 in Cross City. But a few showers are starting to make their way in. Very isolated in nature, and you can barely see them popping up there on the radar satellite. So obviously not producing a great deal of rainfall, but we will see at least a little bit of rain through the rest of this evening, probably coming to an end just before or after 11 p.m. Shouldn't last through the overnight tonight. And then after that, temperatures dropping down probably into the lower 60s with some clouds, maybe a little bit of fog forming. But what does the end of the weekend hold? We'll look at that forecast for you coming up in just a couple of minutes.
The Ocala Police Department is looking for the suspects who tried to rob a McDonald's on West Silver Springs Boulevard. Officials say the suspects reportedly went through the McDonald's drive-thru on West Silver Springs Boulevard when the driver asked the person working for the cash register. He then pointed a handgun at the employee, who froze and did not respond. The suspects then drove away. The employee told the manager, who did not notify the police until about an hour later. The Florida Department of Transportation is closing roads and lanes in 11 north central Florida counties from March 14th to the 20th. The closures will take place during construction and resurfacing projects. In Alachua County, Archer, Maury, Wilson Road, as well as I-75 and Northwest 13th Street will be closed. In Columbia County, Interstate 10, US 441, Southwest Grandview Avenue, and in Dixie County, County Road 351, and in Levy County, State Road 24. For the exact times the roads will be closed, go to our website at WCJB.com. And top fuel dragsters, fast cars, and a good time. Gator Nationals is known for bringing more than 70,000 people each year to watch some of the best racers reach over 300 miles per hour on the track. 22070 Tinoco shows us why some people say this year's Gator Nationals will be sweeter than the last 45.
For many people, attending Gator Nationals may be a tradition, but they say that this year there's a little extra perk for coming out to the track.
Yes, nothing like a cold beer when it's hot out.
For the first year in Gator Nationals history, the venue has the green light to sell beer to thirsty fans.
Oh, I'm excited. The only thing I don't like is that we can't cross the fence with it.
In the past year, race officials have been allowed to offer 2 coupons for alcoholic beverages to fans who pay for premium packages. Officials say expanding the sale of beer is expected to have a positive impact on the economy in Gainesville, keeping spectators in good spirits.
This is the first year, and I think a lot of people were looking forward up to it. It's been a really good thing.
The raceway was rezoned from agriculture to planned development for the approval of sales. NHRA owners hold a special use permit allowing the sale of beer and wine as long as it's consumed inside the beer garden.
We've had a little trouble with people trying to maybe take the beers outside the beer garden, but you know, other than that, I think everybody's been really welcoming and accepting of.
As you can see behind me, the beer garden is starting to fill up as it's one of the only places people are allowed to buy and consume beer.
There is a limit to the number of events where alcohol may be sold, and the track will not be selling beer year-round. For some people, this news won't be stopping them from coming back.
Doesn't really matter. I'm on a budget. I can do without alcohol. I can't do without nitromethane.
It's the power that drew them to the track in the first place.
I love horsepower. 8,000 horsepower. Can't beat it.
Reporting from Gator National, Stephanie Tinogo, TV20 News.
Thanks, Stephanie. TV20's Brandon McCullough will have highlights from Gator Nationals coming up in sports. Well, Smokey the Bear said only you can prevent forest fires. Gainesville Fire Rescue showed how homeowners can save their home. Gainesville Fire Rescue hosted its second Fire Safety Expo today. The event showed demonstrations from spraying fire hoses to performing CPR. The main showcase featured 2 rooms set on fire, one with a sprinkler system and one without. The room with sprinklers put out the flames in less than a minute. Without a sprinkler system, the fire lasted more than 3 minutes, causing poisonous gases to form.
I think that's really what we're trying to drive home today, is for everybody to really understand how quickly that fire moves and that sprinkler systems save lives.
Rice says money donated to fire rescue will go towards smoke alarms for people who cannot afford them. The next expo will be in October during Fire Safety Week. A dog is a man's best friend, but in some cases, the dog also becomes the hero. Canines who serve their country were remembered today. Friday was Canine Veterans Day, and to celebrate, Bernie and Scott Campbell organized the Canine Veterans Day celebration and Heroes Dog Walk at Kanapaha Park in Gainesville today. The event commemorates dogs who serve in the military and assist veterans, people who participate in games and rope courses with their dogs. Funds go toward equipment for canines that are in law enforcement and service dogs.
I don't know how many police officers' lives have been saved. Myself, as a military man, I know the importance of a dog on the battlefield.
This was the first walk for canine veterans, but they plan to do it every year. So far, they have raised more than $1,000. The next event will be in October for their Canine Veterans Halloween Party. Officials are still on the search for the suspect who shot 2 officers at a protest in Ferguson. When we come back, ABC's Candace Gibson has the latest details on the search. And an abandoned building is waiting to be demolished in Bradenton, Florida. We'll tell you what's standing in their way. That's up next. Stay with us.
You're watching WCJB-TV 20 News Weekend Report with Lauren Verno, meteorologist Mike Gismondi, and sports with Brandon McCullough.
Welcome back. The manhunt is intensifying in Ferguson, Missouri for the suspect who shot 2 officers at a protest earlier this week. Candace Gibson is in Ferguson with the very latest on the search for the suspects.
Overnight, Ferguson very much on edge. Showers dampening attendance at a late-night vigil.
We're not going nowhere until we start seeing systemic changes.
But doing little to calm tensions in the St. Louis suburb as a manhunt intensifies. This morning, county police scouring new images of Wednesday night's shooting of 2 police officers from departments outside Ferguson. Footage gathered from many eyewitness phones, television crews, and surveillance cameras rolling that night.
Who was here during the shooting?
The 2 officers shot just steps from the Ferguson Police headquarters. The incident coming near the end of a protest.
Officer down, shots fired at their station.
These recently released images showing police responding to their wounded colleagues. The St. Louis police chief now saying they know the direction those shots came from as his detectives dig through dozens of tips.
I think we have a pretty good general idea of where we think the shots came from.
The city reeling from the police shooting of unarmed teenager Michael Brown last August, and a scathing report by the Justice Department finding racial bias dating back years in the small town. More than a half-dozen city officials, including the Ferguson chief of police, out of a job within the last week. This morning, the St. Louis County Police Chief urging the community to come together to support the wounded officers and help in the search for the shooting suspect.
Last night, we witnessed a fascinating event take place right there at the doorsteps of the police headquarters, where protesters surrounded officers, and what followed next was a calm discussion. It took place for about a half hour with police officers and protesters sharing umbrellas. Baby steps here in Ferguson. Candace Gibson, ABC News, Ferguson, Missouri.
Covering the state tonight, the owner of an abandoned building in Bradenton wants to start demolition, but nesting eagles are standing in the way. The building sits below a nest with 2 adult eagles and an 8-week-old baby. Wildlife advocates worry any sort of demolition could kill the bird.
Would create a disturbance for the nest. We'd probably lose the nest. Worst case, we could lose mom and dad and the baby, most of all, because he can't feed himself.
Officials with the city of Bradenton say a representative with Seago Ventures, the owner of the property, came into the office and applied for a demolition permit earlier this week. When told about the eagle's nest, the person implied they wanted to move forward anyway. However, a representative from Seago Ventures denies the accusation of moving forward with the project despite the location of the nest. Well, the sun was definitely trying to come out today. You know, what's it going to look like for the rest of the weekend?
Temperatures again tomorrow will be nice and warm. We'll see how much sunshine we have. I'm expecting a little bit more for the end of the weekend, but just how warm will it get and when do temperatures return to where they should be at this time of the year? I'll let you know all those details of the forecast coming up just after this break.